We have Fight Night.
Well, Angela Hill, shockingly, is fighting again.
Saturday, May 20th. Mackenzie Dern fighting Angela Hill.
Right, main event.
In the main event. Edmen Shahbazyan. Who? Shahbazyan versus Anthony Hernandez. Catchweight. You have Emily Ducote versus Lupita Godinez. Welterweight, Andre Fialho versus Joaquin Buckley, who's always an exciting fighter to watch. Diego Ferreira versus Michael Johnson.
Now, I noticed how you got Michael Johnson's name right.
Yeah.
It's the first name you got right. Well, you got Angela Hill right.
He was our Olympic gold medalist, right? Was Michael Johnson the one that lost his gold medals for cheating?
That would be the Canadian. That's the Canadian.
Oh, he's a Canadian now?
He always was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, if he's good at something, don't we just kind of claim him? Don't we take all the good stuff in Canada?
No, it's they come here. If they're good, they all come here.
Right. Like, because we got Pamela Anderson, and we got Justin Bieber, and Elias Theodoro.
May he rest.
In peace. Our
Mr.
Canadian
Wonderful
correspondent.
Mr. Wonderful.
GSP.
GSP.
The GOAT.
Why do you
of
you
the
just
welterweight?
Well, he's not.
The welterweight GOAT.
I don't think he is.
George St. Pierre, the greatest to ever do it.
I don't think he is.
Who do you think is better?
But it's debatable. You're not wrong. Well, you are. But when you have an opinion, and I don't agree with it, it doesn't typically make you wrong.
Who's better than GSP?
I honestly believe that GSP was fortunate in who he fought. Now, you can't hold it against him, okay? You can't, but you still have to look at it.
Are you using the Khabib argument, like he never fought anybody?
Yeah.
I can't call him a GOAT because he...
he beat Matt at the end of Matt's career.
Okay.
He was beating Matt when Matt beat him the first time, so he lost. I don't necessarily hold it against GOAT status, him losing to Matt Serra. He made a mistake. He didn't this, he didn't that. Stuff happens. You don't have to be undefeated. I didn't think that GSP, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous, he wasn't dominant. He laid on top of you. Matt Hughes laid on top of you, and you wanted to cry.
But that's the fight game now, right? I mean, that's what the UFC is morphed into. It's more of that. It's not the two Rock'em Sock'em robots. Bell rings, run the middle, start
I
panting,
understand.
somebody falls.
No, I understand.
No, we're going to get that with Gaethje and
right. I understand what you're saying,
Poirier.
I understand what you're saying, and that's why, as a judge, I disagree with a lot of judges. I take you down and I lay on top of you and do absolutely nothing. Okay.
Control.
You on your back, you're throwing punches, you're hitting the side. I'm giving you the round. But most judges don't. Most judges, but it's not just control. You can't just lay on top of somebody and do nothing.
Well, that's what the game has become, because now it's points and it's control, and they're all built for 25-minute rounds. Where back in the UFC, they were trying to finish in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, to get
and
the
usually
hell out of it.
did, right? So I mean, and plus in the beginning it was like a tournament style where they fought multiple fights per night. So there was an advantage of, hey, I can't endure much damage. I got to fight in another hour. I need to get in here, get this victory, and go back and recover for the next hour. So the game has changed. The sport has changed.
I get all of that. And GSP dominated.
And he started the new UFC as we know it, like with that control. I think he was really...
I don't even think he started it. Honestly, I believe that was him. He didn't necessarily have knockout power, right? Matt Hughes did. It was just two totally different things. And he was a dominant wrestler. There's no taking away from that. I'm trying to pull up... Can
we at least debate and agree that poutine,
is
Canadian
awful?
Food, is the worst food ever made?
It is awful.
Okay, can we all agree that that's not debatable, correct?
Now, you have to add, I can argue with myself as I'm looking at when he beat Michael Bisping, and he was losing. It's kind of like what happened with Matt Hughes when he was winning and then lost. He was losing, if I remember correctly, to Michael Bisping, and then he won that at 217. But let's look at... No, he had... Yeah.
BJ Penn?
Yeah, he's beat some pretty good guys. Okay.
Who else is in there?
Well, Carlos Condit.
Oh, yeah, Carlos.
Carlos was a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Was good. Nick Diaz was good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him in the awesome. Split decision against Johnny Hendricks that I remember vividly. I taped Bruce Buffer on the phone, because I wanted to hear him on record and new, because I thought Johnny Hendricks won, and of course he didn't. BJ Penn, Thiago Alves, who I believe Thiago just called out Mike Perry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he wants a piece of Mike Perry.
Okay.
The Dan Hardy fight where he literally, from Varsity Blues, I think it was, he literally ripped his arm off and beat him over the head with it, and Dan Hardy didn't tap. John Fitch, the Matt Hughes, Matt Serra, Koscheck, Matt Hughes, BJ Penn, Sean Shirk, Frank Drink. It's a decent.
It's a good list.
It's a decent list. I still think, off the top of my head, and we all know I don't remember much. Look at who Usman beat. Now, was it to that length? How many fights we're looking at? GSP started at UFC 48 and ran off 1, 2, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, 8-1, 8-2. 9-2, 10-2, 11-2, 12-2, 13-2, 14-2, 15-2, 16-2, 17-2, 18-2, 19-2, 20, 21-2.
So I know it's not UFC related, but Keith Thurman is out in LA.
It's not MMA related either.
Right, it's boxing related, but he is saying that because of the way that things went down with the Pacquiao fight and he lost, and then Crawford and Spence are now in the belt, he's claiming that their belts don't hold as much weight because they don't have a win over Keith Thurman. So does it matter who you beat for your legacy, for the meaning of the belt? Is it the same belt if you don't go through the greatest in the division?
Yeah. And here, just real quickly, remind me, we'll come back to that. Here's Usman. Lost to Leon Edwards twice. Colby, Masvidal, Burns, Masvidal, Covington, Woodley, Rafael, Dos Anjos, Damian Maia. That's a killer. Sean Strickland.
Yeah, but go with Matt Hughes. What's Matt Hughes's? I mean, I would say Hughes has probably got the record. I would say his was the most impressive of that run.
I'm a Matt Hughes guy, but
because I don't know. I mean, I'm
Covington, Masvidal isn't Covington. I mean, to me, Covington is the second best welterweight. I think he runs right through Leon Edwards. Now watch, I'll prove him wrong, and I just jinxed Colby and the whole 9 yards. Well,
some guys just have numbers. I mean, look, McGregor could never get past Khabib because Khabib was a superior wrestler and held the ground control, and so some guys just have numbers. You can't just crack it. I mean, Leon must have Usman's number.
All right, so here, defended, won. All right, so Matt Hughes beat Carlos Newton, beat Sakuraya, beat Carlos Newton at UFC 38 that I was at in London, beat Gil Castillo. That's when Gil Castillo's who almost killed John McLaughlin, and then John almost killed Gil.
Oh, yeah,
John
with a rear naked choke,
yeah.
and then fell backwards.
And he stood up and fell backwards on him. John McLaughlin, who was in town and was supposed to call.
Johnny Mack.
Back to Matt Hughes, Sean Shirk, Frank Trigg, lost to BJ. Verissimo beat GSP, beat Trigg again. Joe Riggs, Hoist Gracie, towards the end of Gracie.
Yeah.
That's UFC 60. Beat BJ, lost to George, beat Chris Lytle, lost to George, lost to Thiago, beat Matt Serra, Henzo, Ricardo Almeida, and then lost to BJ, and then lost to Josh Koscheck.
And then beat a train. And the commercial says nothing beats a train, but Matt Hughes beat a train and is still here.
Typically, I would punch you in the face right now.
Just so you got little arms.
Yeah, I got long arms. But when Colby Covington said that to Robbie Lawler about you should have gotten off the train, and I was really upset about it.
Were you?
So I thought it was BS. I mean, dude got hit by a train. And so I texted Matt, and Matt told me that he thought it was funny. So I said, all right. Sometimes I stick up for, I'm too loyal sometimes. I lose credentials because I'm sticking up for you. I go to stick up for Matt, and he goes, that's hilarious. That was a funny line. So I really believe, you look at Usman, Covington, and, that was...
Does he have to get his belt back for you to call him the GOAT?
I don't know who the GOAT of welterweight is. I would have to... I mean, I lived it. I lived GSP. I lived Matt Hughes, and I lived Khabib
And Usman.
and Usman.
We were there at 223 before he was even champ.
Right.
He just said he was going to be champ.
I lived through all four. I think Usman's list is very impressive. And again, you can't hold because of who they beat. You know, Matt Hughes beating, Frank Trigg, my brother, Frank Trigg, twice, isn't as impressive as beating Colby Covington twice. So are we going to look at who we beat? We're going to look at how dominant, because Matt Hughes was dominant.
Yeah.
I put Matt Hughes almost in the same category as Mark Coleman. People were afraid of Mark Coleman.
And why don't UFC fighters pick people up and carry them across the octagon and slam them down to the ground like they used to? Why is that strategy?
Well, first
no
of all,
longer there?
it's not used to. I don't know many that did it other than Matt. And that one fight was, it is still to date my favorite fight, and I hated it because it was two friends. And when I say friends, two friends, okay, which is, this package that came is from a friend.
Yeah.
Not many send packages. We send packages. This is a package. Do you want me? I'm just going to give it away. All right.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Can I have it? Hold on.
Ooh, at least I get to pick. Do I want black? Check out this shirt.